need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. Hey, hey. Well, I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. Hey, hey. Said I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. And if I share with you my story, would you share your dollar with me? Bad times are coming and I reap what I done sown.
Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Thomas. I was up here on March 5th for a march on the Capitol against tuition hikes on students, and I came up here with the plan of occupying the Capitol, and it didn't go that way. I brought my backpack, a walking stick, and a sleeping bag, and once they had the chance to single me out, they asked me what the point of this walking stick was, and I was like, I have pain in my ankle, I broke it, and they put a screw in there, and so now I have a foreign object in my body. It's not fun, and so sometimes I need to compensate, and other times it's a dull pain instead of a sharp pain. But they didn't even care. They just were like, no, it's a weapon, it has a defined handle, or it's crafted and or manufactured. That's what they said. So that basically defines any tool I've ever experienced. So any tool in their eyes is a weapon. And I've actually since then found out their definition of a weapon in this county is anything that has mass or can cast a shadow. So that's anything.
And so then you were arrested?
Yeah.
And that was the police who made this assumption, or was it sheriff?
It was the highway patrol, and they put me in the hands of the police to have me transferred to the sheriff department. So the highway patrol was the one that actually had the charge against me. But the police took me to their little holding cell, get all my information, and then brought me to the county jail for, I think it was like 70 hours. Because
we're here at the Sacramento City Hall fighting for the Homeless Bill of Rights. Can you talk a little bit on why it should happen? And first of all, your name. I'm sorry.
My name is Brother Kevin Carter.
Okay.
I work with Urban Outreach with the Occupy Sacramento movement, social and economic change.
Okay.
And basically, this is part of the purpose. Homelessness, that's economics. Comes down to when we were fighting against the banking system, and starting there. When we go back to history within itself and revolutionary aspects, we were already warned about what was happening today. Back then, when Thomas Jefferson said that when we allow the banking institutions and the corporations to take over our government, it would lead us to homelessness and poverty. And this is where we stand today, because now we have a 1% that pretty much is controlling and dictating around our government. And the least of these are the last thing to be looked at, and we are the least of these. Homelessness is the least of these. They have no consideration at this time. Their more priorities are into the stock market and making sure that the market stays well for those that invest. The thing is, homeless people invest too before they become homeless, because they are the bill payers. And this is where we stand at today. And far as in homelessness, are we going to reiterate the process to put people back into homes, or are we going to just ignore the problem and continue to create, a hell for the poor? Because if we look at it at the end of the day, those that represent us are more to the allegiance to where they hook on to the wealthy, you know what I'm saying, and continue to snub their nose down. When you speak of homelessness, they find a way to quiet you. And the thing is, I refuse to be quiet, because it's one of the things that Dr. King said. When we remain silent to the things that matter in our lives begin to end.
So can you say your name and what we're doing here today?
All right, my name is Jerome Wyatt, and people have gathered here today at the state capitol to support, AB 5, which is widely known as the Homeless Bill of Rights. And it's a great thing. It's a great piece of legislation. It's groundbreaking, and it's fresh and exciting, and I'm just glad to be here,
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Well, I just think people need to This new legislation represents an actual way for people to get their foot into the door, here with the big shops. So I think that's why it's so important.
Have you ever dealt with the kind of criminalization that these cops sort of profile poor people supposed to tell their houseless people in this area?
Yes, I have. I was homeless myself for 4 years, although that wasn't days. But I do have many friends here in Sacramento, homeless people, and it is just absolutely incredible, what the cops are doing to these people here just because they're homeless. The cops can actually take your sleeping bag away. They can come to where you're trying to live from day to day and tear your shelter or tarp or your tent apart. They'll arrest you. They can beat you up. They can do whatever they damn well please to here in Sacramento.
It's crazy. There's a cowboy justice mess that's going on here.
I know, and it has to stop.
Sacramento trying to fight for the homeless Bill of Rights so that poor people are not going to be criminalized for the sole act of being poor, essentially, which we are now. Can you say your name?
My name is Tatiana OConnor.
Okay, and what are you involved with?
I go with a group of people from my church, and you don't have to go to our church, but a lot of people from our church, and we go feed homeless once a week on Wednesday mornings at Discovery Park.
Okay, and what has been happening when you've been doing that?
Well, we've been doing it for over 2 years, and we haven't had any problems, but recently we've been starting to be harassed by the park rangers just saying that we need to apply for environmental services, we're going to get our food temperature checked, that we're going to need permits just to even serve at all. And so when I called their office, they told me that we would be considered a special event just by sharing food with homeless, and that we would need to apply for an application that would cost about, I think it was $50. And then we would have to have it only 4 times a year instead of a weekly basis. We would only be allowed to do it 4 times a year. We have to do it 60 days in advance and all these things. And so it would cost $450 a year for us to be able to serve out there. And so it's going to finalize in January is when they're trying to do it. And so a bunch of us went to the meeting last month, and we were trying to come against it, and it got postponed. So this month is when they're trying to do it. And it's very sneaky because their special events before was different, and now they're making it more broad so that they can sweep us under that permit and say that what we're doing is considered a special event, even though it's, but we talked to the Pacific Justice Institute, and they're defending us, and they basically said, we're just sharing our meal, like someone going out to picnic. And why would that be considered a special event and have to give us permits and stuff like that? So, so he wrote us a letter, and he's fighting for us, and so they've been doing awesome, but we're still fighting.
Wow. What's the name of your church?
It's Real Life Church in the Terminus.
Okay. It's an interesting idea that we talk a lot about at POOR, which is the act of being, standing, walking, or eating. While poor is criminalized, right? So that in fact, as you pointed out, if you were doing a picnic and you were a large party, that you would not be. Fascinating. Thank you so much.
Dollar, dollar.